Alright, hey guys, me again with another YouTube video. So, we're gonna go over a few different things. First things first, I got a new camera. My old phone, I dropped, cracked the screen, had to get a new one. So I upgraded to Samsung Stratosphere, or Samsung Galaxy S5. The old phone was a Samsung Stratosphere version 1 and version 2. I had both. So I got a better camera quality, basically. Now you can actually see the pixels on the screen, which is kind of weird. I'm thinking like if I turn the camera a little bit the other direction, you won't be able to see that anymore and you won't have that big of an issue. But I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Second thing, I'm going to have to go over this because I keep getting a lot of questions about things and whatnot. So people ask me to do guns all the time. Your suggestions are in a list, basically. So here's a list of all the suggestions that I have. That's okay. If you suggest a gun that I haven't done before, that's perfectly fine. I keep getting a lot of requests for guns that I've already done. If you guys don't know, there is a search feature on a channel right here. So if you go to my channel, we'll just switch over to subscriber view. Even on subscriber view, there's a search magnifying glass right here. You click that and you just type in anything you want. So I've gotten 3 requests for the ballista in like the past week or so. So you hit search. Or you're not coming up with anything. I just did this. I'll do it as turning subscriber. Ballista. Enter. I think I just broke it. Let's exit out of that and go back to YouTube. This just worked the other night because this is how I copy pasted links into the video of the people asking me, or the comment of the people asking me about these types of things. So search ballista. Yeah, see. So as you can see, my first video for the ballista is right here. The destruction of the real life one is right there, and I think the real one showcases in this video. I can't remember. It's in there somewhere. So yeah, you can use a search feature to search someone's channel. So if you want to search my channel for a gun that you might suggest, please do that first, because it's a lot better for you guys to go dig through my channel to see if I've already done the gun than me having to respond to you guys saying that I've already done the gun and you already posting a comment. Like, hey, you should make the ballista, and I've already made the ballista. So just please check my channel before you post a comment. There is a search bar. Use the search bar. It's helpful. I use it all the times on other people's gun channels before I suggest something, just to make sure that they haven't already done it or something. Anyhow, today we're going to be taking a look at a gun that kind of came in underneath the radar, I want to say. In terms of like you guys knowing what I was building, unless you really paid attention to everything on my channel. MSR, by the way. Why is there so much in here? I could have sworn I deleted a crap ton of that. So this is the ARAK. It's a really, really interesting rifle. I really wanted to do this one as like a test between different things, and it turned out fantastic. This is probably one of the best assault rifles that I've ever done in terms of like overall design and overall functionality and whatnot. So I'm really happy with the way that this one turned out, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at it and get into a little bit of the design details about this rifle. So we're going to open it up in LDD. Goodbye, MSR. Good model, too. Don't worry about that Ripper. That Ripper was horrible compared to the new one that I made. That video should be coming out in a few days. So here it is. This is the ARAK. This is such a beautiful weapon. I love what I did with this thing, and standard my different usernames, IMR sites. So I'm pretty sure they're just like the standard because they're such good sites. This is just a great rifle. A little bit of background information about what this is. The AR-AK takes the best of the AK and combines it with the best of the M4 M16 family of weapons. So it has the bolt system that an AK would have, but at the same time it has the lower receiver and controls that a M4 would have. It does not have a buffer tube on it, which means you can have a folding stock on it. But they do like to use the buffer tube from M4s because you can choose whichever stock you want to put on it. So for me, the stock choice that I wanted was the Troy Industries Battle Axe stock. So that's what's on it now. And then I kind of threw on the Peacekeeper style foregrip because it just kind of looked amazing with the overall profile of the gun itself. So I went with that. It comes in two different types of calibers. Well, there's a lot because 5.56 has its own calibers like 300 AAC or ACC Blackout 3 AAC? ACC. I think it's Advanced Armament Corporation, so AAC. Same thing that the Honey Badger fires. You can convert this weapon to shoot as well. So this fires both the 5.56 and the 7.62 by 39 that the AK fires, and you can switch between both of those rounds. So if you're out in the field and you run out of 5.56 and the only thing around you is AK ammo, you switch out the bolt and your magazine, and then you're running AK ammo. So that's something really neat about this rifle, and that's kind of the big purpose behind it. So we're going to go ahead and get into the overall design of this weapon and what I did a little bit differently than other things, and yeah. So first things first, we're going to start with the stock. The stock's pretty basic. This is the basic Troy Industries battle style or battle axe style stock that I've been doing for a long while. This is on my SR25. This is on my Sabertooth 50 ISW. This is a stock that's been with me for a long time. So there's nothing really changed about this stock. I think the only thing that I really changed about it is that it's curved round this way and around this way instead of just being curved around this way and then flat this way. So that's one change that I made here. This stock is non-adjustable. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how the Troy Industries Battle Axe style stock adjusts. So this one just kind of clamps onto the buffer tube and then sits there. It doesn't really move in or out. If you wanted to, you can make it friction fit in or out, but I don't like doing that type of stuff. I did that once before with the stock. It didn't work out too well, so this is just fine. Moving on into the lower receiver. Everything in yellow is the lower receiver, and this was a really interesting paint job. In case you're wondering where I came up with this paint job, the old Creator models from Lego used to have a bright blue on yellow, so I went with that because it turned out really cool, actually. This is a pretty sweet paint job, so. It's not very realistic in the military, but I wouldn't mind as this civilian carrying around a yellow and blue rifle. So this is a completely redesigned M4 lower receiver. I got so many M4 lower receivers, it's not even funny, but this is probably one of my favorites because of how it looks. This looks fantastic in terms of overall design. So we're going to start up here. So this actually does curve like a standard M4 would. And then comes into the buffer tube back here. Which, by the way, the buffer tube is 4 studs wide instead of like 2. So it's more of a circle. And then it curves on down this way into our fire selector. And something different about this fire selector is this is a normal fire selector that I have. So safe, semi, and then full auto. It's ambidextrous as well. But these have little notches up here so that you can't over-rotate your pieces here, which is really cool. That's something that a lot of people overlook, and it's something that I neglected for a long time, and now I'm starting to get into adding these to make sure that you can't over-rotate the fire selectors now. So that's something really cool. That's a virus, don't worry about that. This plate right here is to cover up the Technic pieces that hold the trigger in. Speaking of trigger, new design. It was experimental. It looks pretty sweet. I like it. Probably definitely really comfortable, like fits your finger really well. It does move. If I can. So you can pull it, which is really awesome. Trigger guard. Curves. and then kind of curves up into the lower receiver here. Magwell, and that's the top of the bolt, by the way. So this is indeed on top of this magwell is indeed open to the bolt up here. Flared right here, so it makes it flared magwells would just make it easier to reload in low light situations. Much more natural feel. It kind of guides the magazine into the magwell rather than you just having to get it right the first time. Working magazine release, and this one is working. This one was kind of hard to do because I wanted to get it closed in as much as possible and had to use side pieces here and then these pieces, and it was complicated, but it was worth it. All these pieces down here are turned sideways, as are these here, and then this piece here is a brick like that that's holding up this piece here, which closes the gap between here, because with normal bricks there's going to be a much larger gap. So that was something that really cool that I did. On this side you have the push button for the mag release, which has this arch coming over it, which is really nice detail. Love that. Push on this, it's going to push this out, drops your mag. Really amazing. And then right here is a lowered bolt catch, and I say lowered because this is indeed on the ambidextrous model of the ARAK. They do indeed have a bolt catch here, and it has to be lowered because the standard one would be sitting up in front of the shell ejection port, and you'd have issues with brass coming out and hitting your bolt catch. Peacekeeper foregrip here. It's got a yellow line up on top and blue line down on bottom. Pretty simple. Bottom rail, 2 studs. Top rail, 2 studs. Basic IMR folding sights from MDun. Is IMR, giving him credit because those are technically his sights. I just copied them. And then monolithic upper receiver. So monolithic upper receivers, basically what that means is that you cannot take the handguard off of this without taking the upper receiver. It's all one piece. So that was a really nice design, because things when you do stuff like that, you don't have a giant gap right here if you're going to do a field strip model. So all of this can be connected together, and then this portion is relying on this portion to stay connected to the lower receiver, and it forms a cantilever basically, which in engineering terms means all this weight up here is forced into the seam right here between the lower and upper receiver. So that's really nice, because usually if you do like a field strip version, even though this one's not technically field strip, all the weight on this handguard would be right about here where your connection points are. So if anyone's ever done like a field strip HK416 or M4 or M16, they know exactly what I'm talking about, and this seam right here becomes a very weak point. The receiver on a ARAK is a little bit different than a M4's. So as you can see here, these are actually using cheese wedges instead of these slope rigs. And the reason for that is because this is a much flatter kind of angle, and then it comes into a flat side here. And the reason I went with this method is because I wanted the brass deflectors to be a specific curve like that. And then there's the one over here. And in order to get the side angles and whatnot down, I had to use these pieces here, which look really nice. And then the side plates here and all along the back here, which looks really nice. And then this kind of sits right up on top of there and forms your shell ejection port. So that's really nice. Charging handle is like that of a H&K kind of. It's more like a F1 Herstal Scar. It's up here instead of back here, which is why my mouse was hovering back here. What's actually back here is the your push button for your AK takedown, which is your bolt guide rod, basically. That's what's right here. But this isn't a field strip model. The only thing really field strippable about it is these are actually flat pieces right here. So if you wanted to, if you built it in real life, basically you could kind of just take off the upper receiver from the lower receiver without removing any pins. It's not really, I don't experiment with field stripping as much. Oh, completely forgot about the grip, which is one of the best parts. This grip was incredibly difficult to make. It's definitely a lot more unique of a grip than some of my other models. So this is sideways pieces right here, and then they just kind of meet and form into the normal pieces here. But on the flip side of these normal pieces is this hinge piece right down here on the bottom, which forms this really amazing angle right here that you're seeing with the first finger groove here and then your two other fingers sitting down here. So that was a really nice design to do. It definitely looks amazing. It's one of my best pistol grips that I've ever done. And I want to give a shout out to Nate Dogg because the inspiration for this style of grip came from him, watching some of his YouTube Lego guns. It's not a direct copy of his, but the inspiration for the type of design came from him. So that's what I'm trying to say. So shout out to him. Charging handle, like I was saying before, up here, circle connected to the operating rod is what these are called, which connects back here to the bolt. Bolt is ambidextrous, shell ejection port is ambidextrous, I should say. And then on the outside of this handguard, basically, these holes right here are actually so that you could attach rail systems if you want, but I like the design better without rail systems, so I went ahead and did it without the rail systems and left the holes. The black that you see on the inside is actually the barrel, which goes all the way down to the chamber way over there. The thing above the barrel, this thing right here, is a gas adjuster because you're switching between two different types of ammo. You will have to adjust the gas, how much is operating the system and whatnot. You don't want it too high because you don't want shit being blown back into your face, like an unburned powder and whatnot, but at the same time, you don't want it too low or it's not going to cycle the weapon fully. You'll have failures to eject. Your feed ramp won't pick up another round, things like that. So that's why there's a gas adjuster so readily available on the front up here. Really cool muzzle brake. This one turned out pretty well. It's the standard muzzle brake on the weapon itself, but it looks amazing. I really like how I did it with the window pieces here. Even though it's square, I wish it was rounded, but it does look pretty great, so I'm pretty happy with that. And a lot of people get worried about the barrel being flimsy, but there's a large 32 stud wide or long Technic axle from about this point up to about here, and then after that comes a 16 long axle piece. So this is quite sturdy barrel. There wouldn't be much drop to it in real life, so that's something really cool. No magazine, and no optics other than the iron sights. So, yep. What do you guys think? That's pretty much it. You might be able to hear my dog barking in the background. I'm home alone. It's a Friday. I don't have college today. I have college Monday through Thursday. And it feels good. So I have all the windows and doors open up in the house. So it feels pretty good. I live on the lake. I get a breeze. So my door has to be open to get the breeze kind of coming into my room, because you have to get cross breezes and whatnot, which means you have to open doors and windows and whatnot. So my door is open, which is why chances are you might be able to hear my dog if he starts barking repeatedly. So that's pretty much it, guys. This is the ARAK. This was kind of out of the blue build. I really did it to test how I could do a redesigned lower receiver. This is not a Master Edition build. If it was going to be a Master Edition build, the only thing that I would really have to change about it is the stock into a different stock that I wanted to do, and the bolt catch into a working bolt catch. So if I wanted to do a Master